Joe, mind your business. Speed trap, speed. Don't tell me how fast I'm going. All right, calm down. We calm? I'm calm. How you doing, everybody? Matt the Greeter here, atop the trusty-ish bug smasher. It is springtime in Vienna. No, it's springtime in New England, and all the land rejoices. Well, it certainly was that kind of a winter. Had a lot of funerals lately. Should I cut right to the chase? None of them mine, not yet. You know, I guess you're welcome to attend if and when that day happens. Yeah, a lot of them. I had about 5 deaths in a matter of, what's up, dude? In the matter of I don't know, was it 4 or 5 weeks? And that's, you know, that's a little steeper than I would like as far as that. But yeah, one of them was a dear friend of mine from ages past, and that was yeah, that would I won't say it didn't go well, but that was yeah, not the one we were hoping to attend. And so that one was, you know, it was very funerary for a funeral. You know, it lived up to its name. And yeah, it wasn't a lot of fun. And you know, I'm not a crier, but I am a thinker, and a ponderer, and a ruminator, and a perseverator. And yeah, so I got a lot to chew over about that one. You know, things didn't go maybe the way they should have. So yeah, that's all I'll say about that one. But then there was another one, funeral for my friend Tom. And so my friend Tom was a little older than I am, and Tom, if you could say he had a great funeral, I think it's safe to say that Tom had a great funeral. And man, I'll tell you, it was something else. So his life sort of declined very quickly, and you know, there were some like little bursts of hope along the way that were followed up by just punishing blows. You know, so it was the end was tough, and it seemed to come pretty rapidly. And but Tom, he had his priorities straight. You know, Tom was one of those guys that lived a very conscientious and passionate life. And you know, he subscribed to the mantra from, I think it's Colossians 3:23, which is like, you know, work, you know, whatever you do for work with all your might, basically as unto the Lord and not for men. You know, like, in other words, you know, when you're doing something lousy or something real tough, you know, forget the guy that you're working for. Don't work for people. Pretend you're working for your creator, right? And don't pretend, actually work for your creator. You know, and when you adopt that mindset, you know, it allows a person to really throw their all into their work, and not let the baggage kind of wear them down as much. You know, and you know, if you ever worked, like, if you've ever worked for the man, you know, he gets, what is it, stick it to the maniitis from School of Rock. And you know, if you're working for the man, you know, it can be just crippling emotionally to work for just people who are humans, you know, and they stink, and they're lousy, and they're thinking about the bottom line, and they don't, you know, care about you as a person or whatever. That's lousy. But if you're working for your creator, it makes a difference, you know. And Tom definitely did that. Tom was he was a pretty tall guy. He had to be 6'5", would you say? 6'5", 6'6", something like that. Maybe not. I mean, I'm 5'8", so you know, he was in a different level of clouds. Yeah, my college roommate was 6'8", so that kind of became my, you know, if you're 6'8", you're tall. You know, if you're 6'4", 6'5", you're tall. You know, anything under that's not really tall. Tom was tall. He was also a weightlifter, you know, so the guy was jacked. You know, he worked, you know, I don't know, it's hard to really, I'm not even going to attempt to explain what he did for work, but he did it really well, and so he was able to have a pretty good income. And I would say, and he had a Harley, a Heritage, which I never got to see. And you know, because Tom and I, you know, I feel like we had an emerging friendship. Like we were in, you know, a couple of cohorts together. You know, 3 or 4 different things. You know, I sat down with him one day and I just unloaded my entire life story on the guy. And he was like, it was like the first time I met him, first or second time I met him. And man, he was almost apologizing for things that happened to me along the way. And I'm like, no, it's cool, it's fine. But he was really compassionate that way, you know, which balanced out his great strength. And you know, so I knew he had a Heritage. And, you know, obviously he knew I had the Bug Smasher, and I really wanted, he was retired, I really wanted to go for some coffee runs with him this summer. And that was a plan of mine. Like, Tom and I are going to go for, you know, I'm going to twist his arm, like, let's go for coffee or whatever, because I got a job. I can slip out. Because my job is, it's you know, sometimes it bleeds into 7 days a week, and you know, morning hours, and then I'm off and out at night. So if I can slip out for a cup of coffee, nobody gives me a hard time about it, you know what I mean? And so that's really what I wanted to do. I was really looking forward to getting to know him, you know, on a different level. And so I really liked it. And you know, as much you know, as success as he had, you know, in business-wise, he was really generous. He was a really generous guy, and you know, so he's just one of those guys. I mean, you just want to be around him because just his presence alone, it kind of makes you better, makes you feel more professional, makes you feel cared about, and man, when you're really down and out, this is a guy that'll pray for you, buy you a coffee. Yeah, he'd show up with like a box of Joe and a box of donuts for people, you know, just for no reason, just out of the goodness of his heart, you know. And so he's a great guy, and his funeral was so good, you know. Like, everybody that showed up had a story about how Tom, like, helped them out of a jam, or was really generous with them, or was really patient, or really kind, you know, or you know, stuck up for them physically, you know, big tough guy, a Brooklyn accent. And yeah, and like I saw people that I had worked with years ago were at the funeral, because, you know, when you're a person like that, your acts of kindness and generosity and whatever, and the way you live your life, it reverberates out in all directions, you know. And so you never know who you're influencing or affecting, or whose day you're saving and pulling out of the trash, just by a kind word, or sticking up for them in front of somebody, you know what I mean? So so I had the privilege of singing a couple of songs at his funeral and stuff, and I'll tell you, man, that's the kind of funeral, you know. I'm not sure that I want to have one, or what. It's not up to me. Who cares? I'm gone. But if I was going to have a funeral, I would hope that it would be something like that, you know, because it was, like I said, you know, it's weird to say it was a great funeral. It was a great funeral, and people left learning something, you know. And anyway, that's it. That's all. I didn't even know what prompted that topic, but anyway, that's the way it's going. So yeah, we're hoping funeral season's coming to a close here. And but in the meantime, hey, I'm Matt the Greeter, and I'll talk to you guys soon. I care about you. Bye.